Hello there. Welcome to EL266, American Literature from 1776 to the present. I'm Dennis Jers. I've been at Seton Hill University since 2003. I teach courses in literature, writing, journalism, and new media. And I love teaching a literature class because I get to visit works that I've visited before. And each time that I visit those works that maybe I've loved since a student, when I read them, I see something new in those familiar works because I'm a different person. And each time I read a new work, I see something familiar in it. I always try to teach works, at least a handful of works that I've never taught before, and sometimes works that I haven't never read before. So I always love encountering and discussing and exploring your first reactions to the works of literature that we're studying. And a familiar work is very enjoyable for me to read because those authors will take familiar details and they'll work them together in a new pattern, and they'll make something new out of them. They'll do new amazing things within the limits of established conventions, or they'll break the conventions entirely, and that can be very exciting if you know what to look for. Those are the kinds of things that we will be talking about this semester, and what we're looking at now is the Canvas, which is our command post for the course. This link takes you to the syllabus, which is will you find all the course policies. This page will show you all the assignments. And upcoming assignments will walk you through what my expectations are of you as a student in a college literature class. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. In addition to Canvas, we'll be using some other tools. We'll be using SoundCloud, which is a free audio sharing tool. If you're already familiar with GarageBand or something else, SoundCloud will be no trouble whatsoever. It's just very easy to share works on SoundCloud. You might also choose to use YouTube if you wish. My feeling is that an online class can be very lonely unless you, the students, have some experience hearing the voices of your fellow classmates and perhaps seeing their faces if they choose to share their thoughts through video. Those upcoming assignments will walk you through how to use those tools so that if you're not already familiar with video or audio sharing, there will be some practice assignments before the really serious work comes up there. So don't worry about that if you're worried about that. If you're already comfortable with new media, then perhaps you'll enjoy those components of the class. The Canvas course will show you assignments, and you can see assignments. This is the view that I see. Your view as a student may be a little bit different from mine, but I just wanted to show you here. I'll let the page load. I wanted to show you that we have 4 different participation units, each of which is worth 10% of your grade. So participation in class discussions is worth 40% of your grade. And then 35%, are exercises that introduce you in sort of graduated stages to the kind of writing that I'll expect you to do for your research term paper. And as I record this video on Sunday night, the night before classes, you can see all this information is here. All the slots are open. The assignments have explanations. Some more details may appear as the course progresses, but I just wanted to let you know that the work for the course is very clearly laid out for you. If you don't already know about it, probably the best way for you to sort of keep a handle on what's going on with your classes is this calendar view. I have all my classes available. Let me hide these other events so we can just focus on the work that's due for our class. As you can see, most of the work is going to be due on Mondays and Thursdays. For this first class period, I've push things to Tuesday in case it's late on Monday when you're looking at this, or if you don't look at it till Tuesday. If you're a little late, don't worry about it too much. Just make sure you're all caught up by the first Thursday morning deadline. This is not a whole lot of work, but I wouldn't want you to feel rushed and to have to do 2 days worth of work on Thursday. So I'm spreading these deadlines out a little bit. So again, most of the work is going to be due at 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday or on Thursday. As you can see, some of these assignments are due at 10:01, 10:02, 10:03. That's just so that they will appear in the calendar in the order in which I would expect that you do them. I don't expect that each of these assignments will take you 1 minute. You should plan a little more on that. Watching and responding to this video that you're watching right now, that's the first assignment, and I'll, as soon as I finish this video, I will upload it, and you should be able to see the information here. I want to call your attention specifically to this assignment on online learning and this syllabus quiz. I'm not going to spend time in this particular video going over these details, kind of mechanics of the course. I've split those up into these upcoming assignments, and I'll let you take a look at them. I believe they're pretty self-explanatory, but of course, if you have any questions, the syllabus, which you can get to, let's go back to courses, click on, here's our course. All the contact information is here in this document. I'll just show you what that looks like. If for some reason you can't see this, maybe you're not logged into Google with your Seton Hill account. That's something that sometimes happens. So I'm asking you for these first couple assignments to spend some time familiarizing yourself with the way an online class works, and specifically about how this online class works. There are some benefits to an online class structure. We don't have to meet at any particular time during the week, but there are regular deadlines, and I expect us all to be talking with each other about the readings, so that we're all on the same page of the readings and we can have meaningful discussions throughout the semester. So don't fall behind in the readings. That's important. So let's see. My assumptions about you include that you know how to do the kinds of things that a high school English teacher asks you to do. Things like reading a work of literature, looking up unfamiliar words, looking up online references to names and dates and historical facts and so forth that might be a little bit unfamiliar to you. Doing things like identifying the plot and characters and recognizing when there's imagery and recognizing things like irony or understatement. Those are the kinds of things that I expect your high school English teacher will have taught you to do. And so you'll be asked to do those things in this class. Things like understanding the differences between our world of today and the forces that have created our culture, and the differences between that and the kind of forces that created the culture in which the fictional world the characters are living, or the world in which the author lived and the author's original readers lived. Recognizing those kinds of differences, those are things that I would expect a high school student could do. Things like expressing your personal reaction to the story, making connections between what you're reading and your actual life. I assume you can do those kinds of things because you can't graduate from high school unless you can prove that you can do those kinds of things. Your high school classes have given you a strong foundation that will prepare you to study literature at the college level. And what I'm asking you to do builds on the plot summary and character analysis and biographical and emotional responses that you were asked to do in high school. Well, what exactly am I going to ask you to do? Again, I've got a couple assignments coming up that will explore that in more detail, particularly the literary close reading video. That, I think, will really show you what I'm talking about. The first couple assignments go into that and introduce you to college-level literary close reading. And you'll have a lot of time to practice that, too. So Canvas lets you sort assignments in a lot of different orders, but sometimes students who are looking at maybe for a module view, or they're not looking at the screen the same way that I'm looking at it, may get confused. But I showed you the calendar earlier. Here on the home page, we are seeing a list of courses in this order, or list of assignments rather in this order, and it's all pretty much laid out. And at the end of a course, when I ask my students what advice they would have for the next group of students, they often say things like, make sure you just do all the Canvas assignments on time. Or they say, even if it feels like busy work, every one of these assignments has a purpose, and it will help you later on in the course to do at a higher level the skill that I'm asking you to do early on in the course. So if you've already taken a college lit class, a lot of this is going to sound like a review, and that's a good thing. But those first couple assignments are designed to sort of bring you up to the level that I'm expecting you to do in this class, and I'll be there along with you to help you along the way. I want to caution you. If I wanted to read a plot summary, I would just look up the text on Shmoop. I don't need you to demonstrate that you can summarize the plot. I already believe you can do that because you can't graduate from high school without being able to summarize. And I also already know the summary of the story. I've read the story or the poem, so I don't need you to summarize the contents. What I don't know is what point you want to make, what original idea you want to support, how you will support that point. And that's what I'm asking you to do, not to demonstrate that you can fill out a page by retelling the story or the poem in your own words, but by supporting an interpretation that presents an original idea that's thoroughly grounded in the words on the page. And we'll go through that a little bit. I'm just giving you a brief preview of the literary close reading video lecture. Just as I expect you to be able to do things like summarize the plot or analyze a character, I don't reward points based on how well you could summarize the plot. In a similar way, when you write something, your college professors don't reward you for being able to use the letter R correctly. We just expect that you can do it. You can't write a college paper. Well, maybe you could write a college paper without the letter R. That's an interesting challenge. But if you don't know how to use the letters, you can't compose sentences. And if you can't write sentences, you can't write paragraphs, you can't support an idea, blah, blah, blah. So being able to summarize the plot, that's important, but it's not something that you get college credit for demonstrating that you can spit back the contents of a poem. So just be aware of that. I'm asking you to do something different. And again, this literary close reading video coming up will tell you in much more detail what I mean by that. In a face-to-face class, I would start by walking you through a couple poems and having you talk to each other in small groups, and maybe having the English majors in the room lead discussions. For an online class, we can't handle, some of these things in class. If this were an online class, I'd do at least 2 of these items in class. But because we never meet in person, everything has to be homework. So some of these things are really just designed to get you started, get you going, and I'll give you feedback early on. A separate assignment, this one, online learning, goes into my expectations of what an online class is like. I'll let you take a look at that. But I also want to remind you, I showed you a little earlier, 40% of the course grade is discussions. That is your response to readings. Another 35 is exercises, 25 is the term paper. So that's the breakdown. It just reminds you that if this were an in-person class, we'd spend a lot of time discussing, and I'd just be able to look around the room and see who's being engaged, who's helping, who's distracted. We can't do that in an online class, and so I'm expecting you to write something in response to every reading assignment. For some of the longer reading assignments like novels, I've broken up into chunks. Just follow along, and you'll see what I'm talking about there. So overall, I'm asking you to demonstrate an ability to keep up with the readings and to contribute substantially to the online discussions, and also to engage independently with each other. I do not promise to comment on every post that you make in the discussion forums. I'm going to sample what you write. But I do want to see regular evidence that you are engaging with your classmates. And just follow the instructions of the Canvas assignments and it'll all be clear. As I record this video, as you can see, everything is all ready. Let me publish this. So here we go. There we go. So now the course is online. I look forward to seeing your work, reminding you that the syllabus contains information for how to contact me. It's got my office hours and so forth. What to do if you miss a deadline, the course goals and the academic integrity policy. All that stuff is very important. I do want to take you here in the syllabus to a couple things that are new or recent enough that I think are worth repeating. So let me just walk you down. I'm taking you all the way down to the end of the document where I have some university policies. Is it loaded yet? Okay, so among the policies, here's the university's academic integrity policy. I expect you to know what plagiarism is, why it's a bad thing, and how to avoid it. If you have any question about whether something is plagiarism, you should probably assume that it is and check with somebody before you submit something. I'll certainly give you my feedback beforehand if you're not sure, but here are my particular policies about plagiarism. I'll let you read those on your own. If you have any special learning requirements, the Office of Disability Services can help. I want to engage you however I can in order to help you to learn the material the right way. And if there's something about the course that or something that I need to know about your unique way of learning, I invite you to share with me what accommodations that I can make for you. And it should go through Disability Services, so it's all on the up and up. The university has an information literacy policy. This research plan, the sequence, is very close to what we'll be doing for the research term paper. For the liberal arts curriculum, you should save assignments in this course so that you can use them in your senior integrative seminar to demonstrate that you've met the American Studies requirement of your core. And this is something new, the university's Title IX statement. As an employee of Seton Hill University, I am a mandated reporter. If I hear of any situation of sexual violence or sexual assault, or I believe somebody in the class is in danger, it's in my job description. I'm supposed to report that. So if you are aware of any sorts of issues from a classmate or yourself, these are some resources that can help you. If I hear of something, it's my job. I have to let Seton Hill University's Title IX coordinator know of any of these instances of harassment, sexual harassment, assault, and other forms of dating violence, domestic violence, stalking, etc. So that's there to keep a safe environment for all students, and I just want you to know about that. All right. So I look forward to seeing your work in Canvas and hearing your voice in upcoming assignments and perhaps seeing your face if you choose to do videos. And so happy reading, and I will see you online.